What it is, Brad Lea, the Silver Fox, back again with another episode of Dropping Bombs. Today in the studio, folks, as always, I got a real treat for you. Sean Zubor in the house.
How's it going, my friend?
It's going good. Folks, if you guys have never heard of Sean Zubor, go check him out at Sean Zubor, Z-U-B-O-R on Instagram. You can also find him just right around the internet if you Google him. He is the founder of Stonehouse Realty, which has 400 agents and shit tons in portfolio value. No?
Yeah, we do roughly $3.5 to $4 billion a year in sales.
Well, dude, how'd you build that?
It came out of necessity, to be real. So I've been a realtor for 11 years.
How old are you?
I just turned 40 this year.
Okay, so since you were 29.
Yeah. So
why at 29 did you decide to get into real estate?
So prior to that, I was a professional MMA fighter. And I was okay, not the greatest, but I got to fight with some really cool people. I had a 12-2 record. It was awesome.
12-2 ain't bad.
It's not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad.
Did you get knocked out or something?
No, actually, I got submitted both times. Yeah, I've had a few knockouts, a few submissions. So it was a good career. It was a passion. I absolutely loved it.
You weren't afraid of getting belted in the mouth?
No.
How do you get past the fear of this dude's going to try and punch me over and over again?
It's like anything, man. Like the reality is the more you do it, the more you do difficult things, period, the easier everything else becomes, kind of thing. You know, that's
what I was driving at.
Oh.
It's because it's scary because you're not doing it. But once you get in there and you realize what you're doing and you're prepared, it's no longer as scary.
Yeah. I think the scariest thing was the first time I fought in front of like a few thousand people. It was more being in front of everybody, being in front of the lights and so on and so forth. But,
did you hear people in the audience yelling shit? Oh,
yeah, for sure. And you can hear your coach, it's crazy how well you can hear your coach, jab, jab, cross, takedown, whatever. And
are you following what he's telling you?
You're trying to as much as possible, but you're also fighting your instincts. You're also, a lot of it is muscle memory. You're just doing.
Yeah, like Mike Tyson says, is everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the face.
Totally. And in MMA, they always, especially back in the day, used to always joke, it's like, oh, this guy's a black belt in jiu-jitsu, and then he gets punched in the face once, and now he's a brown belt, he gets kicked in the head nuts, now he's a purple belt, so you get knocked down every single time. Because it's a fight. You know, that's really what it comes down to, is who's better at, and you can see, like, I've had some amazing training partners that would literally obliterate me training. That would 9 out of 10 times I'd be submitting. And then when we get into the cage, I fought a guy that he's fought, right? And I destroyed that guy and he lost to him. And it's just understanding, battling the nerves, being present in that moment and playing your game, not, falling into somebody else's trap. Like, you watch Georges St-Pierre, one of the greatest of all time, in my personal opinion. Not a lot of his fights are like super dramatic. And all of his fights, especially towards the end of his career, are the same thing, double leg takedown, pound control, double leg, couple punches, couple kicks that are similar, but he played his game, and that's why he was able to win over and over and over again.
So did you bring that into the real estate game?
So yeah, the reason I basically left fighting is because I busted up my hand, and I kind of realized, I think everybody in as an entrepreneur, a little bit of control freaks in a certain aspect, right? We have to learn to let go of that for sure in certain aspects. But at certain aspects, if you don't have control over your company, it's going to go batshit crazy. So for me, because I broke my hand, that's actually my finger, I had to take X amount of years off. I was even looking at getting amputated. I couldn't make a fist, right? So I'm like, okay, I'm going to put all my energy into this fighting game. I'm going to train 5, 6, 7 hours a day over and over and over again. Walk onto the street, break my ankle, and never be able to fight again. And unfortunately, a lot of the guys that I train with, unfortunately, don't have a pot to piss in. They're completely broke now, right? So I decided, I'm like, okay, I want to get into something that I have some more control of. I've always had passion. I was in finance before. I was doing mortgage lending before while I was fighting, kind of as a side job, more or less. And the real estate business, because I did a lot of lending for realtors, I saw how much they made. I'm like, okay, this is a no-brainer. And prior to that, I've always been in sales. So I've managed car dealerships, did car sales, all that kind of stuff. So I thought it was the right progression.
So you were in sales from what age?
15.
15.
I've never had a non-commissioned job my entire life.
See, again, that's what I keep trying to tell people. Like, dude, you want to get in the position to receive commission. No matter what you do, if you're on a salary or a wage, you got to get in a position to receive commission. That doesn't mean quit your job. It means you better go get another one or get a new one, because you have to be. Mm-hmm. So you were already in sales. You knew already, like, sales is where it's at.
Yeah. For me, I've always... I don't have an issue. Maybe I do. I don't really have an issue with management or working for somebody, but I have a hard time working for people that
aren't as good, don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, or dumb, And for me, it's, I want to be able to, no matter how, I can work 100 hours a week. I can work my ass off. I just want to make sure that I get something in return equivalent or better than what I would be paying as a salary. And I think if you're not in commission, if you're not an entrepreneur, which you're always basically, if you are an entrepreneur, you're always in sales one way or another. The sky is the limit. It's really dependent on you, not dependent on anything else, not dependent on markets, not dependent on whatever. Like, those obviously are things that can affect your life, but over the years, I've just noticed that if you want actual control of your life, you have to let go of the safety net that is a regular job.
Another good one. So, okay, so you were in sales. You said, I'm going to go be a fighter. You figured out that ain't happening, and you didn't want to be left with a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of.
That's right.
So you said, I'm going to shift. I'm going to use my sales abilities. Why'd you pick real estate?
Just because the sky's the limit.
But not selling it.
You know what it is selling real estate. I mean, you can still make, like, I have, we're listing $1 billion project here. So it's still tens of millions of dollars in commissions that you can make off just selling.
Yeah, but the average realtor out in the world isn't doing that.
Well, the average realtor doesn't make anything. They have a hard time paying for a pot to piss in themselves, right? I think the average realtor in BC makes less than $60,000 a year. So,
and by the way, if there's those listening, can you help those people?
100% I can. Just hit me up.
Do you show them what to do in order to make a lot more money than they're making?
Yeah. So one of my passions, my calling for life, and I'll get into this later, but I just recently found God and I've been going down that passion. And one of the things that I learned through that, and I'm not here to preach because I genuinely just started this path, but
there's going to be a lot of people reaching out saying, praise God.
For me, there's gifts that you're given. And I genuinely feel a passion for coaching, training, teaching people. I can go out and make money. That's never been an issue for me. Like, I get along with people, I build relationships, and I work my ass off, right? So I feel like that is, if you can do that well, you can make money. Where I've had, what I brag about most is the guys that started real estate and made 7 figures in their first year by using the systems that I've created, learning the sales techniques, keeping them accountable so they're grinding. So those are the things that I just literally am launching this coaching program in November called High Point.
Better be on Lightspeed.
We're talking about this afterwards.
Yeah, if it's not, dude, it's not really a training program.
That's true. That's true. That's what we were talking about. So this is right now one-on-one coaching. So it's limited spots. I only have 20 hours to do this every 2 weeks kind of thing, because I'm just swamped with everything else we're doing. But once we get Lightspeed and we can accommodate everybody, that is going to be something that I'm going to be looking at doing for sure.
Well, not only can you accommodate everyone with the training, but inside the training, you should embed interactivity to identify the people that are doing a little better than the average and they just want to do better. Like, in other words, as people are going through that interactive training, you can ask questions, and based on their answers, say, well, hey, if you're interested in the coaching, there's only a few spots. Do you want someone to reach out to you? They hit yes, and boom, your sales guy gets a text that says, got one.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff we can show you to make an actual badass, scalable, effective, which is the most important training system.
And that's something I'm totally looking to do right now. The people that I'm geared
right now,
towards,
you're doing it manually.
I'm basically doing it manually.
But people appreciate that. There's people listening going, dude, I'd rather get one-on-one with him.
And it's just to be completely straightforward, it ain't cheap by any means. Just because.
Well, I saw the pricing. It ain't expensive.
It ain't expensive. The return you're going to get is going to be.
That's the bottom line.
100%.
It's expensive not to do it.
It is. And
especially if you're out there struggling right now, you can take anybody that's willing to work and show them the techniques and the processes to make themselves high six, seven figures in real estate.
No problem.
And dude, I get a lot of realtors listening to the show, and they should be like paying attention, because a lot of them, they'll stay so long they burn out because they aren't making money. People don't realize realtors quit because they're not making money.
That's the only reason.
Now, the next thing, because I know you have shit to say, and and people are going to tell me, quit interrupting him. I want to hear him. But in my mind, you don't get rich from selling real estate. You get rich from owning real estate. So do you invest as well?
I do, yeah. And that's kind of to kind of circle back to your question, why real estate? Well, because I have a little bit of ADHD, so I like doing a lot of different things, and getting into real estate on the sales side opened up a tremendous amount of other doors. So we have development projects. We're looking to build low rise, not far from where I live. We do project marketing for high rises. I have done some lending in the past as well. So we kind of do a variety of everything, but my end goal is and even this High Point coaching system, for example, it is a holistic picture. I have never met somebody that I've met people that have made money that are out of shape. I've met people that have made money that drink too much. I've met people that have made money that have horrible families. Like it's not a deterrent to make money to do those things. However, it's not a good life like that. Right. So
100%.
For myself, and I've been there, I've done the worst things, completely regrettable things. I've gained, after fighting, probably 50 or 60 pounds because I just did nothing but focus. And when you're focusing and working and working and working, what do? You eat too much, you drink too much, you do whatever. I've been on that cycle. I've been there. And so
do you ever get drunk and beat someone up?
No, I've never done that. I've been in fights when I was drunk, but I never swing the first time. So that
do you like almost snicker when somebody that doesn't fight is picking on you?
Yeah. Thankfully these days I don't put myself in positions. Like I don't really go out drinking much. I don't do too much. Like I go for steak dinners with friends. I'm big into hunting and fishing. So I spend 2 weeks in the mountains going after stone sheep and stuff like that. So
you're not a kid anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Last night we're staying at Aria or whatever right now. And, I have my admin staff and a couple of the other people from my team here, and they're out partying. I went to bed at 10 o'clock. I had 2 drinks last night. I had to have like a hangover, a special hangover drink, and woke up at 6:30, went to the gym. It's just not me anymore to put myself in those situations. Yeah. So I don't really have to scrap too much.
Yeah, I'm the same. And trust me, I've drank a lot.
Yeah.
But now it's like, dude, if I'm not going to get drunk, why drink at all? And I'm not getting drunk, so why drink at all?
I'm the same way. I don't mind, like when I go hunting with the boys, like I'll have like, I don't mind a good glass of wine with a steak or something, or the odd scotch here and there. No, not.
And I wouldn't even consider that drinking. A glass of wine, I'd say that's almost not drinking.
It's like an hors d'oeuvre.
But the second one, now you're drinking.
Exactly.
Yeah, wine. I would. If I drank in the last, well, I can't say year anymore because I just got hammered in Nashville.
Oh, nice. How was Nashville?
It's killer.
I'm planning on going there. I haven't been there.
Dude, I'm opening another studio there.
Really?
Yeah,
because how I was talking about moving to the States is one of the places on the list.
Well, dude, Nashville's cool.
Really?
Cool people, cool atmosphere. They call it the Vegas of the East Coast, so it's Nash Vegas. And, I moved to Vegas before it was cool, and then it became cool, and now it's cool. It's got the NBA team coming, the Major League Baseball team coming, the Raiders are here, the freaking Knights are here. Like, so I'm not leaving Vegas, but my wife loves Tennessee and Nashville in particular. Yeah. So I just got her a house so she feels like she lives there.
Sick.
Even though we're very rarely there.
That's awesome.
But anyway, I always do these podcasts so people can avoid shit and, gain. Mm-hmm. So I know there's realtors listening that are sucking hind tit and they're not making any money and they're complaining about the industry and boy, the world's crashing and I'm about to go find something else to do. Literally, if these guys are willing to work, that's the key. They're willing to work and they called you. What changes would you have them make? What are they doing wrong right now?
So there's a couple things. There's 2 major issues that I find with the average realtor. So first of all, they consider it a sales job not their own business. The reality is, you guys call it 1099s. It's basically, we call it something else in Canada, but it's more or less the same thing. You work for a brokerage, technically, as a commissioned salesperson, designated agent, whatever you want to call it. But a brokerage is there to help facilitate, teach you. They may provide a few leads, but the reality is you are in business for yourself. So I would say 90%, even 99% of the agents, because usually it's just the top 1% that make all the money, they treat real estate like a sales job. So where's my next deal coming from? They're constantly on this like wheel of chasing. Who am I going to talk to? How am I going to talk to them? How many uncles can I persuade to buy or sell real estate? Like, it's constantly through this consistent wheel. And on this roller coaster, they'll have highs, they'll have lows, they'll get 5 clients, they'll stop prospecting, they'll stop doing the systems, they'll stop doing whatever, and then they'll crash, and then they have no money. And you just see people going from like 100 grand in their bank account to owing 100 grand and back and forth. So the number one biggest thing is turning real estate into an actual business. So whenever you're in a business, you need to have a marketing platform. You need to have follow-up systems. You need to have where are you leveraging your business from. So what admin staff, are you going to do it overseas? Are you going to do it local? We create the entire structure right off the hop. So when you come to work, I personally believe you have to have 2 different hats in real estate and most businesses, especially if you're starting off as an entrepreneur. First, you need to have your CEO hat. So what's your CEO hat? That's creating all the plans, all the systems, all the marketing ads, everything that you're going to be implementing. And then you work for your company. Then you just go out day to day and implement it. When I go to work, I literally, and I'm sure you're very similar to this, I pick up my calendar and I look, this is what I need to do today. And I just follow exactly what my calendar says. I'm not coming up with waking up in the morning, oh shit, what am I going to do today to grow my business? You know what I mean? Like, there may be days that are designated for planning or whatever it is, but I'm just implementing what I've already planned. So that's the first thing that we do. The next thing that we do is I focus on building avatars for my clients. Far too many times, like, you cannot compete, especially if you're a newer agent, or especially if you don't have $1 million or $2 million in revenue to, be on every single bus stop or whatever it may be. Too many times people are like, list with Sean. Well, if you're list with Sean, then you're competing against like the Coca-Colas of that world. You know what I mean? Nobody gives a shit about list with Sean. It's just, you better have 1,000 faces, 1,000 of my faces out there with list with Sean's for people to recognize that brand. But I'll use a perfect example. Okay. So personally, I'm a staunch conservative. On my social media, people hear all about it, right? And so that's polarizing right off the hop. The next thing is I'm a huge hunter, outdoor fisherman, et cetera, et cetera. Another thing that's polarizing, right? Like, vegans aren't hitting me up daily. Let's just put it that way, right? So I have a demographic of clients that I work with on the real estate side of the business that are my clients. So I give you a perfect example. They're usually entrepreneurs or professionals like lawyers, doctors, whatever, that are more on the masculine side, that are outdoorsmen, hunters, fishermen, etc., and make between $500 to $5 million a year. That's the avatar. That's the client that I go after. And people are like, oh, well, you're just going to piss off so many people. I don't care.
Well, why don't you help the $60,000 dues?
I'll help the 60,000. I'll help everybody. It's what the difference is not that I won't help the 60,000. It's who I project myself to, what content I put out there, where I bring myself to do. Because I really break it into 3 things, right? You need to have a marketing campaign, a prospecting campaign, which I go directly after, right? And then you need some kind of networking. So I'll give you a perfect example. So I'm a massive part of the Wild Sheep Society. So they're the ones that make sure that there's still sown sheep on the mountains. Well, the average guided hunt. So I don't do guided hunts. I go out by myself. But the average guided hunt in Canada, anyways, between 60 to 100,000 US to be able to shoot one of these rams. And you're in the bush, like trying to kill yourself, basically, to get one. It's the most difficult animal on the planet to kill, right?
Why do you want to kill an animal?
Because I eat it. Because I eat it, and because it's an adventure. Like, there is.
That's mean.
Yeah, well, I'm mean then, I guess. But my personal opinion is, well, I'm going to get you out there and do it one day, and you'll see.
I don't like hunting animals.
No?
I mean, I do. Don't get me wrong. I do like it.
Yeah.
I had a traumatic experience hunting once.
Okay.
And we slaughtered this poor deer. Like, ruthlessly.
Yeah.
And it's just like, after that, I just said, dude, that's fucking mean. And so I just quit doing it. I still will fish though, because fish don't feel pain. Every time I pulled a fish out of the water, I said, does that hurt? And it never says anything.
Did the deer say it hurt?
I knew it hurt. You know what happened?
Yeah.
So I'm out with my buddies. Mm-hmm. We see this deer trying to get a drink of water.
Yeah.
We shoot it.
Yeah.
We don't kill it. We just injure it, and it falls, but it's not running. It's injured. So we get up to it, and it's sitting there going, wah, wah, like screaming. The eyes were all big and scared, and I'm feeling like an asshole. And so I went to go shoot it in the head, so it would be out of its misery.
Yeah.
It was clearly it seemed like pain and suffering.
Yeah.
And the big eye was just looking right at me like, scared shitless. Yeah. And I'm like feeling like a fucking asshole. Like, this is a fucking animal that you can pet, And so I'm like, okay, well, let me put it out of its misery. So I take my gun and I freaking pointed at its head. And then I turned so I don't get anything splattered on me. And I pull the trigger and I shot its jaw off. I moved the muzzle moved or something, and I just shot its jaw off. Yeah. And so now when I looked back, it was screaming louder.
Yeah.
It looked more scared, and it was missing its, bottom jaw. So now I'm like, oh, great. And so my friend who was with me had this big buck knife.
And he slit its throat.
Well, he just stepped up, and he didn't slit his throat. He stuck it right up underneath, like where the nuts would be. Yeah. And sliced it all the way up. Yeah. And out came the entrails. Yeah. And it slowly stopped screaming and looking terrified. Yeah. And then he just wanted the back straps. So he literally field dressed the bitch in about 2 seconds, left a big heaping pile of steam, and walked out with like a few pieces of meat. Mm-hmm. And I said, dude, that is rude. Like, I am not traipsing up here to do that. Now, again, most real hunters, they would agree with me. If you're going to do that, don't do it. But real hunters like you and other hunters that I've met, like, it's not just a sport. They're not being mean. Number one, they eat it. Number two, it's like even though it's not a fair match, it's like a match to you guys.
It's adventure. And
it's not a fair match, though.
It's not a fair match.
Bow hunters, like when you're hunting bear with a bow, like that's getting a little more fair. But like a rifle from,
Well, I'll send you video, but so you can take a look at yourself.
Don't make me let you feel guilty.
No, I don't feel guilty. Because I have this conversation all the time.
I'm just saying why I don't hunt. So if you said, Brad, I got all the game in the world up on my ranch, you can come up there. I'm not interested in killing those animals. I am interested in fishing, though. So fish don't feel pain.
We'll do fishing too, but I've had this conversation quite a bit, and I think what it is we are all inherently from amazing hunters. That's our genes.
True.
Right? That's the reason we're all here. And when you've spent thousands of days in the bush like I have, anything like, first of all, what you did, or what you did, but what happened in that scenario is definitely not like, it's not something I would consider real hunting, and it's not something I would condone.
I'd call that murder.
Exactly. But when you see wolves,
and by the way, this is allegedly, I'm not admitting anything.
But when you see wolves tear apart a baby calf moose, what you did is a walk in the park in comparison to what most of these animals will die.
That is true.
So,
can you imagine?
Oh, I've seen it multiple times. They are literally getting ripped apart limb from limb. I've seen one crying with no limbs. The wolves tear it apart and run away and let it die. They are vicious animals. But anyways, neither here nor there.
See, I'd shoot the wolf.
I have shot the wolf
for killing the animal.
I've shot a wolf too. I've had a grizzly try to eat me. Wolf is stuffed in my office that tried to eat me.
Have you ever ate wolf?
No.
Is wolf edible?
You know what's crazy? So I've shot a lot of black bears because I've shot a lot of like different animals. I've pretty much shot everything in North America, more or less. And everything, black bear, because we just leave the entrails. We take all the meat and the furs and everything else. We just leave bones and gut pile, basically. And every animal The next day we show up, the gut pile's gone. It's been just eaten by whatever. The only animal that was there for 7 days that nothing touched was this wolf. Because I just took the fur out of it, right? Because there's a call going on. You can kill as many as you want right now up in
because there's so many,
and they devastate everything. They have such an instinctual, crazy drive to kill that I've seen them kill 2 or 3 moose on one trip, and they don't even circle back to it. Like they just don't even care. They see something, they have to kill it. It's not. And people are going to argue with this, but I've seen this with my own eyes, so I don't give a shit what they say. It's just this instinct that's my prey. As soon as I see it, hungry or not, I'm going after it, right?
Do you think there's any value in having that instinct in real estate?
Oh, for sure. And I think when it comes to real estate, and this is kind of what we got a little bit off topic there, but when it comes to real estate, I went after that avatar. I go after that. So everybody else, somebody
it's a hunt.
That likes to hunt, that is kind of more conservative, that is whatever. When I put myself in those positions and meet people there, like I'll give you a perfect example. So I know the VP of a major development company in BC, and I know her from school back in the day, and then I've helped her with deals, so on and so forth. She called me because there's a big company out there that does most of the projects that have been around for 30 years, right? She called me and said, Sean, I love what you're doing with your marketing. I love how you sold out that last project, blah, blah, blah. I love how you built this brokerage. We are looking for a different company to do the marketing. So to give you an example, this is a $1.2 billion 4 towers total that we're looking to do. So the first 2 towers we're not going to get, but the last 2 towers we're looking to line up. I met with this guy. He's Chinese gentleman, doesn't even speak English, right? Instantly our rapport was 100%. Why? Because he's an avid hunter, right? If I didn't put that I'd just be another realtor, another marketer, another whatever. But now I'm talking about tens of millions of dollars.
What if he'd have been a vegan?
Then probably wouldn't have gone for it, right? But the reality is that vegan probably wouldn't have got along with me anyways, right? We're too focused on trying to appease everyone, and then you end up appeasing no one. Do you know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean. I'm hoping these guys are picking up what you're laying down.
I hope so too.
They can harvest what you're shooting. So that's all the realtors making, 60 to a couple hundred. There's your solution for making more. If you're going to stay in the business, don't you find that there's realtors that should probably just give up?
Oh, totally.
They're not going to make it.
One of the biggest, in my personal belief, one of the biggest mistakes in my area, and I believe it's the same where that they did, is in the 90s, they allowed you to be a part-time realtor. You could have another job, right? And just imagine, like, I'm dealing with clients' properties that are, like I said, $1 billion, but the average home price in Greater Vancouver area is like $1.6 million.
Damn.
Right? Yeah, it's incredibly expensive area. But you can imagine, like, I'm an Uber driver during the week, and Uncle Joe wants to sell his $1.6 million place, and he's going to feel mighty shitty not working with me, or I'm going to make him feel like that. So I have to work with him. But I've done one deal in the last 3 years because really I'm, doing whatever else I am on the side, right? So I feel like most realtors should probably quit unless they're willing to commit full time, turn it into a business, and then the sky's the limit. Like, I'm sure the barrier of entry in the States is just as easy as it is in Canada to become a realtor. And the fact that you can make 7 figures in your first year, the sky is the limit for the average person. You just got to be able to implement what you need to implement.
You need the right information. So the investment side, because every time I meet a realtor, they're like, hey, can you teach me some of your sales training so I can close more deals? I think dude, if I were you, I'd just quit selling houses. I'd start buying houses. Like, how come these realtors, if it's such a good deal, they don't take advantage of it?
So
I always get realtors that come to me like, dude, there's a house and you got to do it and you got to do it. And I always think, well, if it's such a good deal, how come you didn't buy it when you found it? Why are you trying to get me to buy it?
Well, there's 2 reasons. So hopefully the reason is there's just too many good deals that they find to be able to buy all of them. That's the first thing. And they don't have the know-how or wherewithal to find the financing for it. But the reality is probably they're just broke and they can't do it themselves.
Well, then they need to learn to sell, make some money. And then I would highly advise that real estate agents become real estate investors.
I agree. And I think there's a portion of both business. Like I've made I made a lot of money selling real estate, but most of my long-term assets have all been in buying it, and especially
Owning
in
it.
Vancouver and owning it. It's, I have one
Do
property
you
that
teach
I bought
that?
for sure. I have one property that I bought for 1.6 million in 2019. That's worth $3 million now. Right?
So do you teach that? Because there might be realtors saying, dude, I sell a lot of houses, but they're not investing. They're not going on the other side. Because if you ask me, you can get rich selling houses, but you can get wealthy owning real estate.
Totally. And that's one of the main reasons I'm actually looking to relocate to the States, like we were talking as well, is there's way more opportunity. There's a lot of opportunity. So in Canada right now, our rate of return or our cap rates aren't nearly as high. Even though rental rates are super high, with mortgages and with the price that you have to purchase at, there isn't a ton of return on it, right? So you're basically paying down mortgages.
Not to mention there's only 38 million people up there, isn't there?
That's right. But we have, even though our land mass is the second largest in the world, really it's like the bottom or southern 1/3 of it that's inhabitable. Even Vancouver, we are landlocked basically. So
Yeah, but Vancouver's bitching.
Vancouver's beautiful, absolutely beautiful, but it is totally landlocked. So we are tearing down houses to build upwards, right? So that's one of the things that I kind of grew my business on, is doing land assemblies, taking 5 or 6 houses, tearing them down and putting a high rise and rezoning and so on and so forth. So there's a lot of different things that you can do within that when it comes to investment there. But in the States, like you guys have, like I've seen cap rates of like 20% and stuff like that. That doesn't exist, where you don't have as much of a, double your money in 3 years kind of thing as you do as we had in Canada anyways. But it's just different types of investment. What are you looking to do? Is it return, cash flow, or is it appreciation?
So I got a lot of Canadian listeners as well. Mm-hmm. Obviously you're from Canada. They're going to reach out, but what if I'm in the US?
Yeah. Within the US, selling real estate, creating a business. As I mentioned, this app also is going to be completely tailored for training. I got an IFBB Pro, putting everybody on plans. Like there's accountability, there's everything, right? I'm trying to create a holistic, especially at the beginning, because I don't have your software yet. I want to make sure that everybody is succeeding. I would be an absolute liar if I can promise and guarantee, because if you don't do the work, there's nothing I can do about it. But I know for sure that if you holistically build your training systems, you holistically build your company, you do all of the things that you need to do, there's nothing that differentiates myself from anybody else, except I know what to do and I actually fucking do it.
Yeah, execution. That's the difference between big companies and big ideas. So,
Brad, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to ask this question. What do you think determines the most successful people? Like, what is the differentiator?
It's a loaded question.
It is.
Because truly successful people are literally people who I think achieved their plan. So it might have been a small plan and they achieved it. They're technically successful people. But when you say successful, usually you mean money, wealth, choices, options, freedom, time. Because again, I know people that make tons of money, no time.
Yeah.
They are busy all day, every day. And dude, to me, that is not successful. Yeah, they're rich, but that's not successful. So to me, successful is inside. And ultimately, in my opinion, everyone has their own idea of what it is. I can't tell you what is successful. I can only tell you what I believe is successful. So to answer it in that regard, I would say, and what was the question? What's the difference?
So what's the trait basically? Like what do you think differentiates people that are even, and let's just not say like, I agree with you 150%. Maybe somebody wants to make $100,000 a year, only work 3 days a week, spend the rest of the time with their family. That's their plan. That's a success if they can do it.
Yeah, if they're successful doing that and they're happy, they're truly happy, they're fulfilled, everything's awesome, then they're successful, even though maybe financially they're not that successful compared to what they could have done.
But so, even those people, to be able to actually do that, will have to have some kind of trait, mindset,
I always go back to mindset, skill set, habits. However, in reality, dude, I would say relationships and their energy, their mindset, their belief system. That's what separates them.
Yeah, it's so funny that you said that. That's exactly what I was going to say. Because I know once you said education too, and I think education is huge without a doubt. And I mean,
Well, you got to know what to do.
For
Because there's people willing to work, but they don't know what to do. Well, they're screwed. Because if you don't do the right shit, you're going to get the wrong shit.
Yeah.
So you got to know what to do.
Yeah.
Then you got to be willing to do it. So you got half the people that know what to do, but they won't do it.
Yeah.
And then you got other people that they will do it, but they don't know what to do.
Yeah. Exactly.
So again, my mission is to get the knowledge from the people who have it, like you, to the people who need it, so we can live in a world that's more successful. Like, dude, a realtor, an average realtor should make a couple $100,000 a year. You're selling the highest tickets of tickets. Mm-hmm. Like, I got people working for me making $50,000 a month and more, selling shit that doesn't cost anywhere near a house. Yeah. So at the end of the day, it's like, dude, you're selling a home. Like, that's a big ticket deal. What about the here in America or the US, you've got this rule now that affects commissions somehow. Yeah.
So I don't want to claim to be an expert on it. I just know like the high level of it. And obviously because we're looking to move into the States, we're looking into
it. But they added another twist and another layer to the game.
Yeah, but it's just paperwork like anything.
I know, but don't you have to get someone to agree to pay you this commission now? But before it was automatic?
Yeah. So, but in Canada, it's been like that all the time. So we've always had to disclose what the buyer gets, what the seller gets. You always have to get the seller to agree what the buyer is going to. Like, we have on a listing contract, probably like 37 pages right now with everything that we're disclosing. So we've been doing it for the last 5 years. In Canada, you can't, well, sorry, I shouldn't say in Canada because it's provincially different, but in British Columbia anyways, you can't double end. So I can't represent the buyer and the seller.
You can't list it and sell it?
I can't.
Can you hear?
Yes. And well, I shouldn't say state by state. It might be a little bit different.
Because I thought the reason you wanted me to list it because I'm most likely to sell it.
So yeah. So what, I can't represent the buyer. So it actually makes sense if you think about it, because if the end of the day I come to sell your house, right? Brad, I'm an awesome marketer. Watch me show the whole world about it. Yada, yada, yada. Right. So I sign that listing. Now, one of my buyers comes along and says, I want to buy Brad's place. Right. So before double ending, I can make that happen. Right.
Yeah, but you could be in cahoots.
Totally. Right. You know, you can really only have one master. Yeah, you can't work for two people as a lawyer.
Yeah. You could tell me, oh, the comps are half of what they actually are.
Exactly. Right. So what they've done is, there is a way that we can technically double end, but basically they just get a lawyer to write them up. They have to fill out like 6 forms saying that they're unrepresented, the buyer side, et cetera, et cetera. But usually what I do is I just refer that out to somebody else in my brokerage. I get a kickback for it, which is completely legal, right? And I just deal with you and negotiate through that system, right? So it becomes a win-win for everybody. But in real estate, like anything, like you said, relationships, right? So that relationship is way more important on the sell side, my original client to maintain and be good with, versus making an extra 2% commission or whatever.
So with that big ass brokerage of yours with 400 plus agents, number one, you're looking for agents to come work with you?
100%.
So what should they do? They're like, dude, I love this guy. I want to come work for him.
Reach out to me. We're coming to the States.
So in the States or Canada, reach out at Sean Zubor, Zuber.
Yeah. O-R. But close enough.
Zubor.
Zubor. That's
What is that?
Hungarian.
Yeah,
my parents fled communist Hungary in the 70s, and here I am now.
Why didn't they eat before they left so they wouldn't be hungry?
They were going to go to Turkey and grab some food, but you know, it is what it is.
So that'll take care of agents that are out there working and they want trained. I assume if I work for you, you train me anyway.
I would.
And then if I'm not willing to work for you, I just want to know what the hell to do. You'll coach me.
100%.
I don't have to work for you.
Nope.
All right. And then what about like deals? If you have a brokerage, you must be looking for deals.
Yeah. So I'm always looking. So I basically have this 3 parts of my business. So we have the real estate brokerage, which we're looking to get to 10,000 agents within the next 5 or 6 years, go public, et cetera, help as many agents as we possibly can. I personally run my real estate team. My real estate team sells throughout, but we mainly focus on new project developments, high rises, townhouses, those kind of things. So we're always looking for deals on that aspect all across North America. We can sell anything basically when it comes to the project marketing side.
Do you get a lot of Canadian investors?
We do.
Because they want to move here.
They do. Yeah.
Canadians are not stupid.
No.
They're
no.
like,
well, half
dude, we
of us
got to
are.
move south.
Well, if you've seen our current government, you'll think half of us are. But next to that, yeah, there's a lot of us moving. And it's even intra-provincially. Like there's a lot of people moving from BC to Alberta. I have 5 or 6 of my friends moving to Alberta because it's more conservative. It's different government, different whatever, right? So
it's almost like different countries.
Yeah, it was just like state by state, very similar.
Yeah, but there's federal laws that run the state. So
right.
so whatever state you live in, there's federal laws you have to deal with. Is that the same in Canada?
It is the same, but just like, the difference between Florida and California is massive as well. It's the same thing between BC and Alberta.
Yeah, I'd be moving too.
Yeah, exactly.
So
and that's basically what it is.
Is BC the shitty one?
I love British Columbia. I was born
It's always the most beautiful place too. Like California's awesome, dude. Killer weather, beaches. They got to be the messed up one.
And that's the problem is, British Columbia, BC stands for bring cash. So it's a very tough place to live. It's unaffordable, very similar to California. Tax rates are very high. Everything. It's a tough place to do business right now, but it is always popping. And because there's really only 2 places people want to move to Canada:
Toronto and Vancouver.
Yeah, and now
what about what's the French one?
Montreal.
Yeah, what about Montreal?
So Montreal, I don't know. Like I've only been there once, but it's a gorgeous place. It's very much like Europe. It's old, right? So it's actually much older than the country is in and of itself. But Montreal, Quebec itself is kind of like its own country. Like it has some federal laws don't even apply to that province, right? So they're the only province that speaks French. Nobody else really does. So it's a different beast in and of itself.
So between the hunting and the fishing trips, you're selling high rises, training agents, and growing your empire.
That's the plan. That's the goal.
What is the goal?
The goal is I'm not money motivated. I just want to change what's going on.
Why is it everyone with money is not money motivated anymore?
I think, and I shouldn't say that. Like I'm not here to judge or whatever, but I've never been like, and I know you got gorgeous cars and stuff. I've never been a huge car guy. I've never been whatever. Like I have a nice house. I have nice cars. It's not like I don't. But for me, as long as I can go do my hunting, as long as I can go travel with my kids. On Saturday, I go to Costa Rica for 2 days with my 2 boys. For 2 weeks with my 2 boys. As long as I can do all that stuff, that's always been cool enough for me.
Yeah. Well, to me, that's successful because that's happiness. That's what you want.
Exactly.
People always think success has to do with extreme wealth. Listen, guys, if you design a life where you are literally living every day, like some people, I'm going on vacation. I always say, dude, create a life you don't need a vacation from. Because when I go on vacation, it's not vacation. No. I'm just going to be there instead of here.
Yeah, exactly.
So at the end of the day, anyone that can design a life like that, dude, is winning. And if you're winning, that's successful to me.
And for me, it's so, back to your question on like, what is the goal? I genuinely feel like this world right now is kind of screwed up, and so I want to help as many people, open up as many eyes as I possibly can. I want to help people avoid the pitfalls that I've been through in my younger years. And, we're all sinners. So at the end of the day, even today, that is my goal. I look at guys like yourself. I look at guys like Joe Rogan and Elon Musk and the reach you have, and it's not just because of your wealth, it's because of your personality, your brand, and the things you say. I think there is a shift happening in this world because people are willing to talk about it. So my goal is to influence as many people as I possibly can, help them create as much wealth so they're in positions to actually make changes down the line, because there's only so much that we can do personally.
He ain't lying, folks. That's a fact. See, if I don't interrupt, I forget, which is why I always interrupt. I had something to say.
You're just like me. That's awesome.
Yeah, we are very similar, even in that endeavor. Mm-hmm. Like, people are like, you're going to put another real estate guy on the call, you're on the podcast. Yeah. And it's like, if he's got information and there's something that could be shared. See, because again, if you only helped one dude's listening to this, one girl's listening to this, they reach out, bang, next thing you know, they're 7-figure earners, their whole life changes, which causes a ripple effect. And I'm trying to live in a world more successful. Well, me becoming more successful alone isn't going to help. No. I'll just be a really rich dude in a shitty world.
Yep.
Well, how do I raise the level of success? Well, dude, you got to share that knowledge. You got to let people realize, like, dude, this is not as hard as they make it seem. Yeah. Like, number one, get in the position to receive commission. Okay. Be willing to work and be uncomfortable for a period of time. Be consistent, be disciplined, have the right mindset, the right skill set, and the right habits. And dude, you're golden. And then, of course, look inward, like figure out what does success look like to you. It may not be money. It may be, dude, I work for a week, I make my money, and then I just go blow it surfing in frickin' Australia. Cool. Yeah. Like, dude, that's what everybody is looking for. They're looking for life. And once you realize that life is the gift, your gratitude shifts. And now all of a sudden you're walking around with an energy of gratitude, and gratitude brings a perspective of optimism and hope and abundance. And the next thing you know, you realize all the people that were saying it was my mind were correct. Mm-hmm. I was holding myself back with my limitations and my bullshit. Mm-hmm. When in reality, all I had to do was just shut up, blindly follow. Now, again, you can follow the wrong people.
That's true.
But at the end of the day, who cares? Even if you do follow the wrong people, the right mindset is, so what? I wasted a little time. I've done that before. Yeah. And I'm sure I'll do it again. Like, I need information. If you ain't got it, after a while, I'm like, hey, I followed you for a long time, dude, and you're full of shit and nothing's worked. I'll go find someone else, but I'm not going to go, oh, this bullshit. I'm not going to ask anybody what they did. Because the trick is this: figure out what you want. That's step one. And it's the hardest step, believe it or not. Then figure out how to get it, which is the easiest step. And most people think that's the hard one. Yeah. How you get it is find someone who's already got it, and then ask them what they did. And then the third step is do the work. Be willing to do what they did. Yep. If I say, hey, how did you become an MMA champion? Oh, I did this. Well, I don't want to get punched in the face. Well, dude, I got punched in the face.
Lots.
Well, tell me how you were willing to do that. Yep. Well, you get scared at first, and then you develop skills, and pretty soon you're confident. Oh, shit. And now I go do the work. Boom. Now I look back at some point and go, everything he told me made sense, but it didn't make sense when he told me. See, most people that hear information, even the information that they're hearing right this second, there's people doubting this. I'm not calling this guy. He just wants to sell me a course. It's like, listen, if all you wanted to do was sell a course, bro, I would have known while I'm talking to you. Mm-hmm. You're looking to freaking shine light like I am.
It's two things I always say, and this is just personally. There's two things I've spent money on that I've never regretted. A, traveling, because you always see a different side of the world, right? And B, coaching. And I've spent maybe not $1 million, but probably at least $500,000 on coaching over the years. And I mentioned before, I've been coached by Patrick Bet, David, Grant Cardone, like list goes on and on.
And by the way, do they know what they're doing?
100%.
Of course they do. Like
100%.
Look at their results. Like, you want to be a fucking real estate investor, Grant knows what he's doing.
Exactly. And people always ask me, Sean, how did you sell, 60 something homes your first year? How did you make your first $1 million your third year in the business? Like all these different types of things. I actually got mentored by a guy in the States for free the first time, because it's just a super nice guy. And I didn't know him from the hole in the wall, but everything he was saying was just registering in my head. I'm like, this makes sense. I'm going to build a business, not just going to be the sales guy, et cetera, et cetera. And I did it. And I executed, I did all the work, and it was literally a 1-day call. That's all it was. Like, it wasn't a 15-week coaching, whatever. It just a basic system that I adapted to myself. I ran with it. And then obviously over the years, I've tweaked it and done a lot of different things. But for me, it's, if you can have that knowledge, you can spend $100,000, $200,000, $500,000 a year going to some kind of university or whatever, and leave, and you're being taught by somebody that's never done what you want to do. Do you know what I mean? If you can follow and take the lead and just be guided and just execute by somebody that's doing exactly what you've done. And unfortunately, there are a lot of fake gurus, right? That's like, I have one ad coming up that's showing my commission checks to show that I'm not, because there is a lot of fake gurus. But the point is if you can execute what they do, not only are you going to see a tremendous jump in your business and a tremendous return, you're also going to create confidence that you need to actually catapult it. Because you mentioned it earlier, there's a few things that I personally believe when I see in successful people. First, and you mentioned this, it's your relationships, right? I was very candid with you when we first met outside, right? Like one of my goals here is to build a relationship with you, right? It's very straightforward. And the reason for that is I want to emulate a lot of the things that you're doing. You're absolutely killing it. And our mission statement, I know because I've been watching, is almost identical on what we're trying to do, right? So if you can surround yourself, and this is with coaching and accountability, if you can surround yourself with the people that are doing what you want to do, right? The accountability level is so extreme in comparison to just hanging out with your buddies that are like, oh, do you really have to work? Do you really have to go to the gym? Like, who cares if you don't have a six pack? Who cares if it's very easy to get sucked into everybody else's dream that isn't yours. And if your goal and or dream is something that's extreme, you need to be around extreme people doing that dream.
Bombs up in this episode. Dude, that's freaking right. You're 1,000% right. What YouTube you started is The Real Sean Zubor.
Yeah, I just started that. So I got like 100 followers. So please follow me.
Yeah, go hit him up on YouTube. What's there though?
So I just started doing a lot of like how I go after this avatar. There's going to be a lot of this stuff here. So it's me traveling around
and training.
Yeah, there's a bit of everything on there.
So folks, we hit all levels. Number one, if you're broke and you ain't got no money, go to his YouTube channel, subscribe, and he's giving you free game right there. 100%. If you got a little money and a little desire to get more money, then freaking reach out to him and DM him and hit his link tree, which is all his links. And get in his world, because again, he looks like you're crushing it.
I appreciate it.
And then third group is like if you want to get into high rises and like real land, knock on his door and maybe start talking deals.
That's it.
Sweet. And if you're a hunter,
reach out if you're a hunter.
Go big sheep hunting with him.
That's it. My next goal is bring Brad Lea sheep hunting.
Well, that's a lofty goal. Lofty goal. Weird. I know a little bit. A lot of people look to me for some reason for masculinity because of what I teach about how you treat women.
Silver fox.
It's mainly the women forwarding my message to their boyfriends and shit. And because again, like I don't think the woman should pay. I don't think the woman should drive. Now, can't drive? You're a race or a chauvinist. No, dude, they can drive if they want to, but why would you make them drive? I know guys, they literally have their wife drive. Now, there's some, I did a post the other day, I got a bunch of hate, I drive 90 hours a week and I'm relaxing. Dude, there's reasons that you can let your wife drive. You're drunk, you're tired, she knows where she's going. She's been there 100 times. You haven't. Like, there might be some reasons, but in general, dude, you should be fucking the one driving.
100%.
Period. 100%. And again, no one can. So the whole, I'd say follower base kind of DMs me and starting to turn me into some sort of, man coach. Like, how do you be a man? Well, it's like, he don't even hunt. Well, again, folks, listen, I think it would be fun to go out and blast a fucking animal in half. Just the fun of it. Because that's fun. But I can also do it with a watermelon.
Yeah.
As long as that thing blows apart, it doesn't have to have blood and guts and a mother.
That's true.
Now, that doesn't mean I need all the fucking hunters to hate me either. Why? I'm not mad at you. I get it, dude. I've done it. I just freaking got so touched, I would say, when I watched that little fucking deer, and it wasn't some big, mean looking buck. It was a fucking cute deer.
Yeah.
If it wouldn't have been cute and it wouldn't have looked at me and it wouldn't have screamed, I'd probably still be hunting.
So I'll give you the reality is for me, like I bowed a deer this year, but I also went on a 2-week sheep hunt up just below the Yukon. And so we jet boat in.
And plus I wouldn't eat it.
You wouldn't eat it?
Fuck no.
Why?
Dude, I'm not eating a fucking sheep.
Oh, bro, it's good.
I won't.
You like steak? I see your videos all the time.
When the steak's gone, I'll try sheep.
I guarantee you.
But I'd probably move to chicken and turkey and other more traditional meats.
And have you tried elk?
Like, I don't eat cow tongue. I don't fucking eat elk.
Have you tried elk, though?
I've tried elk and venison and all that shit.
And you didn't like elk?
It's gamey.
Oh, you just tried wrong elk, man. I'm telling you, you have to
venison's
prepare it.
Gamey unless it's made right. Like, my mom used to put it in flour and fry it in butter.
Yeah.
And that was pretty damn good. However, it was still gamey. Like, I prefer a steak. I'm a steak dude.
Yeah.
Like, my number one choice of meat, Beef.
Yeah. I love beef too, so don't get me wrong, but I guarantee you, if you try it, that's been prepared right. Like I bowed just a small buck, 3-point buck earlier in September.
Well, key is prepared right.
And that's exactly it. Like it's
dude, I'm sure I'd like one preparation of it, but I've said, let me try the venison when I'm at some fucking restaurant with venison and I bite it and I'm like, ugh.
What about bison?
I eat bison every day.
Yeah, bison's really good too. So where I live,
bison tastes like hamburger though.
It does. It's very similar.
So again, if elk tasted like hamburger, I'd probably eat it.
But see, most elk does taste very similar to like the ones I've shot and eaten or whatever, they taste very similar. Mule deer or black-tailed deer, they can get a little bit gamey. Whitetail, it's not too bad, but
see, not too bad. I don't want to eat too bad.
And that's fair. That's fair. But it's also the healthiest stuff, so it's good for you.
Well, again, I'm a steak guy. And by the way, like, if I went into a slaughterhouse and watched cows get murdered, well, I'd still eat steak. Why? Yeah. Because I'm eating the ones that are already dead. Like they wouldn't come back to life if I refused to eat it.
That's true.
Because like my daughter's a vegan.
Yeah.
And she's mainly a vegan because of animal cruelty.
Yeah.
Which I agree when I watch those videos, dude, that is fucking cruel. But you're not going to stop it is my point. And if everyone says, if everyone stops buying it, it'll stop. Again, theoretically, yes, that's true. But no one's going to, you cannot stop that.
Yeah.
So I just say, hey, listen, if they got a steak on the menu, I'm having steak. If they run out of steak, I'll move to chicken and turkey and eventually I might get the fucking elk.
Yeah.
But until there's no steak, dude, I pass on the fucking beaver nuts and the fucking mountain oysters and the, black-tail cougars. You ever have alligator? Fuck no, I ain't had alligator.
It tastes like chicken, don't you know?
I don't give a shit what it tastes like. You ever have fucking camel hump?
No.
Why not? What about monkey brain?
That I wouldn't. There's some fucked up videos on that stuff.
What about menudo?
No.
Innards and
oh, I eat liver.
Liver?
Oh man, liver is good.
My God,
liver,
bro.
Heart. I eat all that stuff. You better believe it,
dude. When you get the turkey for Thanksgiving, you eat the neck.
I do.
Oh my God.
That's actually one of my favorite spots.
You're like my father-in-law, dude. Yeah, he'll go to a menu and anything that's weird, that's what he's getting. I can always tell what he's going to get because they got it on the menu and it's weird. Like, oxtail.
Yeah. I've
like fucking, you want to eat the tail, bro? Why the tail? Oh, it's delicious.
So we have a huge Chinese community, obviously, in Vancouver, right? Massive. And so there's tons of dim sum, all kinds of stuff. So I go to these things. I'm eating like duck tongue. I tried chicken feet.
Not interested. Not interested.
Honestly, the duck tongue wasn't bad, but the chicken feet.
Dude, another traumatic thing I had when it was a pig's foot.
Yeah.
So I'm behind this two-way mirror in this grocery store that my buddy owns.
Yeah.
And it was behind the deli counter.
Yeah.
And on the deli counter was this big jar of pickled pig's feet. And I looked at him and I said, dude, are you telling me that people eat those?
You bet.
And he said, oh yeah. I said, who the fuck would eat the foot of a pig? Like there's bacon, there's ham, there's all this other shit, and you're going to pick the foot? And as soon as I said that, dude, this girl walks up, big old girl,
yeah,
probably 350.
Eastern European, probably.
No.
Okay.
Big old, she was straight up American, born and raised, I'm sure of it.
Gotcha.
Big old girl takes the lid off this fucking pig foot jar, reaches in with her hand, bare hand.
Beautiful.
Grabs a fucking pig foot, pulls it out, puts the lid back on, and continues to shop as she's gnawing on this pig foot. And dude, just the sight of it, I'm like, oh my God. See, I don't get it. Now, not that a pig foot isn't good. You could tell me it's delicious. If I tried it and it was delicious, I wouldn't eat pig's feet.
So, but this is my argument to you on this, okay? Is on one side of it, right? So yeah, in Hungary, we eat all that stuff. And there's even something called head cheese, which is like
never would I touch that shit.
Which is like salami. And I've literally seen like pieces of hair coming out of it. But
it's snout and shit.
It's snout and everything. Yeah, it's
like, dude, you don't have anything better to eat? You know why that started? It was because they needed every part of the animal to feed the entire community.
And that's what I'm getting at, though.
So, I mean, we're not living in those days anymore.
No, fair enough. But you're talking about animal cruelty. And at the same time, now these people are making sure every part of that animal is used.
Well, that's nice of them, but at the end of the day, you know, and by the way, I don't think it's animal cruelty when you're eating.
I know.
Like, dude, if my family was fucking hungry, I'd be like, you hear about these Haitians, fucking killing the ducks and the fucking cats and the dogs. Dude, if my family was fucking hungry and starving and dying, guess what?
Yeah.
Don't let your fucking dog around me. Because I'm going to kill it and I'm going to eat it.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to choose dog if there's a fucking steak right there.
That's fair.
You know, there's some parts of the country where they're having dog because it's delicious. Well, dude, if you kill a fucking dog, you're a rude ass, heartless bastard, if you ask me. If you kill a cat, if you kill anything you're not going to eat, I don't think you're doing very well. That's why people are like, well, aren't you mad at hunters? You sounds like you're on our side. No, I'm not. Like hunters, dude, I've been there. It's fun. It's fucking adrenaline. And they eat it.
Yeah.
No one's going out there and just fucking killing a deer and leaving it there.
No.
Usually the hunters, real hunters, because I'm sure there's asshole poachers, but
for sure,
real hunters, dude. Well, I don't blame them at all. And I almost envy them.
Well, at the end of the day, too, kind of like what I was saying earlier is I went on the sheep hunt for 2 weeks. So to give you an example, from Vancouver,
again, you're talking about those sheep you see on the side of the mountains that you can't even get to.
To stone sheep, the
that's why those
rams.
Fuckers are hard, because dude, they're places you can't get to.
So it's a 18-hour drive from my house, basically to the top, almost like to the Yukon. We're about 3 hours from the Yukon, from the top of BC, and then it was a 6.5-hour jet boat ride to this spot. Then they drop them off with a backpack, myself and my buddy, Ether backpack. We hiked in 80 miles, so 120K roughly, right, to get to the first mountains. So I took a few days. And there's no trails. Like this is bushwhacking, right? Then we're going up 7,000 feet in elevation looking for these things. We saw 60, 70 sheep in total, about 15 rams, one possibly legal, but we did all of that and reversed it all the way back. I lost 11 pounds in 11 days, right? And didn't shoot shit. Nothing. And it's a 5%. I've been blessed to be able to shoot these ram, but it's a 5% success rate, non-guided. Right. And people still do it year after year because it's the adventure. Like I had grizzlies coming through my camp. I had like wolf packs, like you name it. We saw 3 grizzlies, and you can't shoot them right now, but you're going to be able to shoot them hopefully next year. But you can't shoot them right now. So this thing's, unless it's gnawing on your arm, you can't do anything about it. Right.
I don't give a shit.
And exactly, you're still going to do something, right?
No, I'd have a 357 on the hip, and if a bear came near me,
but remember, we live in communist Canada, and you can't have a handgun on you.
You can't?
Nope.
Dude, see, that's
we got a rifle that like bolt action. That's about it. But that's what I'm saying. This is one of the main reasons I'm coming to the States too. I own multiple handguns, but I can only take it to the range. That's it.
Well, dude, let's support this dude, Sean Zubor, at Sean Zubor, Zubor. Folks, realtors, pay attention. If you're out there hustling and you ain't getting nowhere, tap into him, see what he's got, see if it's cooking. YouTube channel's free, The Real Sean Zubor. All the links will be down below. Stonehouse Realty. If you want to go to work, you're ready to hire how many? Unlimited.
We just want to make sure they're hustlers and we can get them moving.
Go apply. Appreciate you coming in.
Thank
Maybe
you
one day we'll go hunting.
100%.
Till next time, keep it real.